Hello, Western Civilization 105 class. Welcome to week 4. So, just a few things that I need to mention right away. I am looking over the papers. I have not been able to get to as many exams as I would like to yet. Tomorrow I'll get to grading more. But I noticed that with some of the definition papers and exams, many of you are back to not doing works cited in the way that I've talked about. So I'm going to give you until tomorrow. If you have not put works cited within your papers, I need you to do it immediately. That will always be required of all papers. That's something I discussed. I know I didn't put it in the instructions this time because I thought that at a certain point we could have that clarified. So you always need to do that, okay? That's always important. If there's questions about that, then contact me. And trust me, I just want to clarify again, you're going to get yourself in trouble in college not having that as a habit, okay? So that's just something that you should always be immediately in your mind. Do I have works cited within the text as I showed you that I want in the previous announcements? Okay, so make sure you get on top of that. Other than that, it looks like most of you are getting things down very well. That was a challenging assignment to do all the definitions and putting into an essay form, and most of you did that well. I have one thing I just need to say briefly. There was a lot of misunderstanding of my video that I did on the definition of Zionism, to a point that bothered me, that I saw some of you not listening to my entire video, I think. And I realize now that I might actually want to even change my video, but I just want to clarify a few things. So I mentioned that white nationalists, meaning racists, have a view about the term Zionism. And the reason why I brought that up is because if you're on the internet or you get involved in popular discourse, what I was trying to point out is that they will use that term in reference to a basically made up book called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. And they're implying that when they accuse somebody of being a Zionist, they're talking about a conspiracy that a Jewish conspiracy that Jews are puppet masters behind the scene. That's a racist conspiracy theory that I do not believe in. That's not what I was promoting, and what I was trying to point out is that the term used in actuality by people who claim to be Zionists, and even many people critiquing the term who are dealing with the Israel-Palestine conflict, are using the term in very different ways. Okay, so the point is that, in short, as the textbooks pointed out, Zionism is Jewish nationalism, or the idea that Jews have a right to a particular part of land in the world that was historically called Palestine, but if we go back even further, Judea, Samaria, Israel. And so now you have basically the creation of Israel in 1948 through a whole long set of things that I don't have time to go into. And then you have some parts of historic Palestine still left. Okay? And so for Palestinians, or for pro-Palestinians, or people sympathetic to the Palestinian perspective, they will often call themselves anti-Zionists because they're critiquing this idea that Jews have a right to live in the land more than Palestinians. And so, again, what I'm also trying to point out is that this term, used precisely, is not a debate that should have to necessarily be understood in any racial way. It's basically, is Zionism justified in context to the people living in the land beforehand? And then that's where the debate takes place. And for some on the Palestinian side, they say that Zionism is racism because that means that Palestinians don't have a right to live there as much as Jews, according to that ideology. For some pro-Israelis, to be anti-Zionist, they claim, is anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish, because they say that that's saying that Jews don't have a right to their own homeland. So it can be very confusing and muddled, and it gets this term gets really wrapped up into all of our culture wars right now. I mainly wanted you to be aware of that, to say it's one of those terms that if you look up or say or use in conversation, see on the internet, there's a big hot mess of things going on out there that I want you to be aware of, outside of what the precise textbook definition is. That's really what I want to say, okay? And so I'm hoping that you will just keep that in mind and understand that's what I'm trying to clarify. So any other questions on that, please feel free to ask me and contact me, and we can go into greater discussion of that. It looks like most of you got through the other hot button topics that also get muddled into ridiculous conversations, such as socialism and communism and anarchism. So anyhow, all right, so keep up the good work. We'll be in touch, and I'm always going to be available to talk with you. All right, everyone.